Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? I'm John with the Wood Ninja. Welcome to my YouTube channel. We're going to be building a SpongeBob. Hi, little buddy. Stay tuned.
Go ahead.
And here we go. We're trying to dial in where his eyes should go. Now this is a true, wow, look at the hair. Wow, you can see all the paint in my hair. Well, I'll get to that in a quick second, but that's a true 6x12 cedar, solid cedar beam that I lopped off of a patio cover that, as you can see, I finished. That's, you see in my hair is the paint from finishing that patio cover. Now, you can see I'm tracing out his eyes. I got them fairly centered. And what I'm doing is I'm using my little router here to get a little indentation in the wood so I can set the eyes in there. Now, those eyes aren't just regular eyes. Those are actually LED lights that you've probably seen on my other projects. I used them in my lanterns, my little jack-o'-lantern project that I had. That's one of my first videos. And these are the same type of LED lights. And as you see, I'm just getting some depth in here. I want them to set down in there. So, but still have I want them to pop out like a fish-eyed coming out of there. It looks more realistic towards this SpongeBob. We want to stay true to the Bob. And yeah, whenever I use a router, it's always a mess. You can see it's all over the place. I'm filthy. See all the paint on my pants? You can see that too. Yeah, what I do is I usually got done painting in the afternoons, and I would go home and I'd start working on this guy. And that's exactly what you can see here. A lot of routering on those eyeballs. There we go. That looks about right. Maybe a little deeper. Who knows? But when I cut this piece of wood off of, it's the main beam of the patio cover. When I cut it off and it's laying there on the ground, I looked at it, and the first thing I thought of, I thought, God, it looks like a SpongeBob. I mean, it's just perfect size. The ratio is just, it was amazing. So I knew immediately I had to make a SpongeBob, and it's solely because of the way it looked on the ground. And here I'm taking an old handle, and I'm making a nose for old SpongeBob. Oh, here we go. So if I want to make this thing look like a sponge, I gotta start carving it up. That's kind of the way he looks. I got my little sander action here, and I'm just making a whole bunch of big cuts on his head all the way around, kind of make him look just like the SpongeBob I see on TV. Now, it may not be perfect, but it gives it the illusion that it's a sponge. And just going to town here with, I mean, that 40 grit really does a number. So here we go. The nose to me looks a little long in here. It looks more like maybe if Pinocchio and SpongeBob had a child. I think that's kind of like this nose would be. So his nose will actually fall off, and I have to actually cut it down. But that's coming later. Now I'm going to torch this guy because I want it to look like a sponge. It's the only thing I could think of. I mean, I could drill holes, I suppose, in him, and that could sand him down, I guess. But I thought the cracking look would probably give it a better sponge look. So I think I decided to run with it. And here we are, torturing them up. I'll tell you, this took a lot. That is a true 6x12 piece of wood, and it did not want to burn. You would think it would. You can see the other torch I have over to the right in the back, the yellow one. I mean, that did nothing to it. And I mean, I burned almost a whole propane tank on this guy. I did everything I could to smoke him. Now, his nose burned, of course, and the eye sockets burned pretty good. All the things I didn't really need them to burn, and they burned really well. Yeah. So, I mean, I just sat this thing there for a while. You probably don't see all of it. We had to cut the film down, but, I mean, I just had to cook them. And I just keep rotating and cooking them. And again, it was probably in the 90s when I was cooking this guy. It was hot. It was hot. At least I have my good work boots on. Those are OSHA approved, unlike the sandals I had before. And still not tied my shoes. And you can see it keeps wanting to go out on me. You can see I keep hitting it with the torch, and it'll blow out. And I hit it with the torch, except his nose. You see his nose keeps burning. So it's constantly trying to cook this guy down. It's non-stop cooking, blowing out, cooking. I had to change a canister out. I started on the bottom. I figured the bottom, and then the flames would work its way up. See, I tried to save his nose by putting the flames out with the hose, but I actually lost his nose. It will burn off here in a minute. But I think it's to the best because it was too long. It was a Pinocchio bob instead of a SpongeBob, so we got it corrected. You see, I'm just holding that there and just cooking and cooking and cooking. But eventually we get through the cooking section, and he's starting to. You can see he's getting a good char now. He's starting to get a pretty good char on him. Yeah, you can see that on the corners. You can see a little bit of the ash, so you know he's starting to get burned up pretty well. And the key is to char him, and yet not overchar him so he looks like an evil SpongeBob, I guess, and try to keep him still a happy Bob. And I'm going to try to get a happy medium here. You can see I have him elevated on a cinder block so that I don't burn all the weeds like I did last time. Oh, hello. There we go. A little accelerant. That will help out the deal. Well, I warned SpongeBob, you better burn or you're going to get the accelerant.
That's a fire.
Now that's a fire. Anyways, you can see right down the seam of that guy. You can see how deep that char is at that seam, right down the middle between his eyes, all the way down to his navel. Yeah, there you go. That looks pretty freaky. I like that. See, I just set it there, walk around, make sure all the fire's out. Actually, you don't see it, but to the right there, I actually started a fire right now. Oh, there we go. Do another one. There we go. There we go. So you can see that I started that plastic container over there on fire, and I had another fire over by the shed there. I had to put that out. It was close to getting the fire extinguisher on that one.
Safety first.
Safety first. Remember that always. You can see there's nothing flammable around. Nothing at all. Nothing to see. That container's ruined. You can tell he's really charred up. He's got a good look to him now. I hit him a little bit with the water hose just to control a lot of the excessive burn. And there's his head.
Getting right down to it.
See, I had to keep rotating him around, charring him up. Yeah, so I'm cooking the backside of his head right now. Yeah, it's a pretty good close-up of how that really works. I just set it in there. And it must have been some water in there, but it didn't seem very waterlogged. But that's about as good as a close-up as you're going to get. Now that's really spectacular. You see, there's no nose on him because it burned off. You just see the nails. That's it. This is the backside of him. I'm just going to try to cook him up on the backside, make him look a little better. You know, it's I'm trying to match the front the best I can. If you do it in the front, you got to do it in the back. You can see the top where I cooked the top of his head there, and the back, that looks pretty good. You see all that gray material there? That was all there is for burning. Then we go on to the penetrating epoxy. And this is some of my favorite stuff. So I don't even let this guy cool down. I don't want to spray him with water because then I have to wait for that water to evaporate. So the guy's outside smoking still from me with the torch, and I just go right into penetrating epoxy. I don't really care. And mix her up, make sure everything's good. That's a 2-to-1 ratio. And then we're just going to go put it on him. Oh, I put a little black dye in there. Then I'm going to use a paintbrush, and we're going to paint out. See, he's still smoking. And I just put it right on him. I don't even care. I pour it on the top of his head. There you go. There's some embers in there. And it didn't cause another fire for some reason, but man, it's soaked in well. But that's why I don't hit it. If I hit it with the hose with water, then I'm going to have to wait several days for it to dry off. See, I'm trying to get his nose back on. At least he has a real SpongeBob nose now instead of a Pinocchio nose. So there I am hitting it with as much epoxy. I mean, it takes the whole container. it's maybe hard to see, but it'll soak right in. At first it looks like it's not going anywhere, so I pick it right up. I don't care how hot it is, I just pick it up. My gloves didn't melt that time. You can see a little top right there where it turns a little yellowy or white. That's still, there's embers in there. It's cooking the epoxy, but the epoxy puts out the embers, so that's all good. You can still see the paint in my hair from it. I mean, that stuff did not want to come out. See, I just keep laying it in there, and that block of 6x12 really soaked it in there. There we are, new nose. Somehow, I've kind of figured the epoxy would help. I don't really want to put my left hand on there because it was so hot. So, big man fall hard. But then I'm using some CA glue there and a little accelerator. That'll keep his nose on. There you go. You can see that accelerator kick in. All right, now I'll pick him up. Let's pick him up. Yeah, it's hot. I don't want to grab him. You see what I got? I got a rock in my hand so it doesn't touch my glove, so I don't burn the glove to my hand. So I'm trying to keep it on there, not burn myself. There we go. It doesn't look great, but remember, we're going to paint this guy, so it's okay if it looks a little distorted now. And there you go. Look how much epoxy I put on that guy, and it soaks right in. I just give him another bath. He likes that. All right, guess what it's time for? It's time to paint old SpongeBob. And what color is SpongeBob? Oh, you got it. It's yellow. And I just use a paint lid, and just go ahead and get to town. Yep, just use a regular brush and go to town on them. And what happens here is that the yellow is a true yellow, but what it does is it turns a little green while I put it on here. You get a little bit of that residue from the I think from the charcoal or the black or whatever, but it does what I want it to do, because what we're going to do here is we're going to put on a good layer of paint, and then we're going to want to strip off some of it. We want to get down into the cracks, but we don't really want it on the outside. We just want it on the cracks, more or less. So it gives you a good 3D look. And once I get all the paint on here, it almost looks like a cat right now. And looks like Felix the cat. And then once we get it all on there, you'll see I'll wipe it off. And that's why I'm painting them right by the sink here. That's my little garage sink. So what I do is I'll wipe it all on. I mean, I'll paint it on, and then I'll wipe it off. And then it'll show all the cracks and all the burnt material and stuff. You'll see what I mean. So it looks kind of more spongy like, and less like a block of wood. So that's what we're trying to go for. And going to town. I don't really paint that fast in real life, but it looks nice. I wish I did. And you can see that I'm just using acrylic paint on that. It's not oil paint or anything like that. And I don't know why I'm not painting his nose. Here we are. So then I just take a cloth and I make sure it's soaking wet. And you can see I'm running the water in the background there, and I'm just wiping it off, rinsing it. And look at that. See, now that looks pretty cool. Now, it's not exactly like a sponge, but I mean, the alternative is drill a whole bunch of holes, I guess. So this is what we went with, and that's what I thought it would look like. So look at that. I kind of like that look. Remember, this is just the base coat. And then we're going to remember, I'm going to paint his pants and his legs and his shoes and all the other different things on this cat. He's going to get all sorts of cool stuff. Now, yeah, I mean, you can still see a lot of the black coming through, and that's intentional. That's actually very intentional. And when you're using, it's right there, that is a paper towel. What that does is sometimes it pulls apart, so you just got to pull out the little pieces. Then if it catches on something, sometimes it catches on little burrs here and there. I hadn't sanded it down yet, so that's probably why. And you can see that I think it looks pretty good. I like it. And now we're just gonna finish up the old paint and let that dry, and I'll probably hit it with a little lacquer, maybe some poly. That's what I typically like that. And now we're moving over to, I believe we're going to be building some shoes here. I think old SpongeBob needs a pair of shoes. That's, so I got a 4x4, and it's redwood, so it's soft. It's easy for me to deal with. That's why I'm using redwood. And so the shoes are made out of redwood, so I can carve. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to carve them with my sander, my belt sander. And oh, those are not the shoes. Those are his pants. So again, they are out of redwood, and I'm measuring to make sure they're fairly centered where I want them to be. And again, those are SpongeBob's pants. I forgot about his pants. You can't have SpongeBob out without his pants on. That would not be right. Anyways, I'm gonna get them centered here where I want them. Then I'm gonna glue them, and once that glue sets up, that Type Bond 3, that's it's all over. And I'm probably gonna hit it with a nail gun here, and pretty much that's about it. I like redwood because it's easy to deal with. Here I'm finding the center there, and we got to find the center so I can. What I'm also going to do is I'm gonna put his legs in. So I had to drill holes. So we drilled holes so SpongeBob can have his legs in his pants, ants in his pants. But see, there it is. See, it fits. So we're going to take the material that I used for his nose, and I'm gonna make his legs. Now, right there's my Type Bond 3. I love that stuff. We're gonna fill that sucker up with Type Bond 3, and then we're gonna hit it with some brad nails, my little nail gun. Yep. And what that's gonna do is once that glue sets up, it's over with. It's where it's supposed to be, and it's gonna be. It'll never leave. But I made these legs a little long on purpose because I want to see how he stands. If it looks appropriate, if it looks the way he's supposed to look, because we don't want him too tall, we don't want him too short, we don't want a Yoda, and you don't want a Grape Ape. We want a SpongeBob. So I made them long to cut down on purpose. Now, as you can see, I just nailed those in place, and as soon as that glue sets in, it's over. That thing is right where I want him to be. Now, I kind of like the squareness of the 4x4 for his pants. It just looks appropriate when you look at the SpongeBob cartoon itself. It lends itself into having those squareness. There I'm loading it up, and then those dolls set down in there, and then we don't know if that sets proper. So I hit it with a level, and we're gonna plumb them up. Got to make sure it's plumb. Hit it again with the nailer, and the more plumb we make it, it'll look better, and plus it'll set straight. If it doesn't, it'll look like SpongeBob has a list to one side. So, SpongeBob is young, so he doesn't have to worry about a hip replacement or anything like that. So that's why you can see I'm trying to get there. You can see it's not right where I want it to be. And there's my little girl dog in the back, that's Skatey, and there she goes. All right. And I just use a little torpedo level here, and that's getting me where I need to go. And I just keep filling that thing up with glue until it's completely full. Keep checking my plumb, and add more nails. And those are aluminum nails. I can cut them. It's not they're not very difficult to remove. Sometimes you'll see some stick up, and I clip them off. They don't. There's not a whole lot to them. They're just really there to hold my legs until the glue sets up. That's all that's for. And I'm just gonna wipe off the excess glue. There you go. The best I can. Now, are we gonna build feet now? Oh yeah. So that's a 2x6 piece of redwood, and those are OSHA approved work boots that you see I have on. And we're using 4x4 redwood, and we're gonna attach those and make some shoes for SpongeBob, because unlike me, he needs proper foot attire. Yep. So I'm trying to figure out what looks best. I'm working that over in my mind as I'm showing it on camera, and I think I got a pretty good design going, and it's going to require a lot of grinding though. So here we are. We're going to glue them up, then we're going to shoot them up, and then we're going to grind them up, then we're going to paint them up. That's pretty much how that's going to go. There you go. I used 2-inch nails, I think, on this one, so I can shoot it right through the bottom. And here we are. So now I got to shape it. Now, like I said, that oh, as you see another dot. Oh, that's Smokey. Now, that grinder, that belt sander, will really take down the redwood soft. So it really, really does a good job taking that down. You can see I'm trying to square it up. I'm trying to get those shoes just proper, just right. So it's going to take some grinding here, but I also can get the top of that grinder is got a round, it's rounded, so I can get into the I can make a certain shape, like a boot shape on the side, so it looks like it's concave, and that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm cutting that down, and I'm removing some of the extra material from the belt with my little I'm not sure what they call it. It's like an eraser, but it takes out all the extra sawdust in the belt. There I am working the top on this thing, and I'll tell you, it did take quite a while, and it's messy, and you can see me just working it, and out of all the tools in my shops, the one that I always hurt myself on is that damn belt sander. And when you slide your finger just a second and it hits that, and it will tear your skin off every single time. And I've never been hurt by my table saw or anything like, but that thing has taken off more skin than anything ever in my entire life. And you would think I'd get better at it, but no, not really. It's still losing skin. You can see the boot now is starting to take shape. It's really starting to look a little, the front's still a little wide, and you can see that that's going to be the left foot. It kind of gives that little curve to it. Not a lot, but it's got a little curve to it. You can tell that's going to be the left foot. And you can see the different colors of the redwood. That kind of looks nice. Unfortunately, we're going to paint it up because SpongeBob's boots are black. Yeah, that's the left foot. Tell that right away. A lot more grinding. And there's a lot of grinding on this guy. And it really just doesn't stop. I'm glad you enjoy the grinding as much as I do. Now, his soles are a little thick, but if you look at his shoes in the cartoon, they look pretty similar to that. I want to work that just under the top of that boot to give it that nice hourglass shape to it. So I spent quite a bit of time here on working it over and grinding it down. And so this is just the left. And yeah, it took me the better part of a day to grind this down. Now, you're not seeing all of it here, but that's quite a bit of the grinding. Then once we get off of the rough grinding, we're going to go to some sanding, like some light sanding, just to kind of take the edges off and kind of smooth it out and make it a lot less, I guess, Neanderthalic. But yeah, I'm getting close to the end here on this one. All right, who likes sanding? Raise your hand. All right, here I am, sanding away. Anyways, well, there you go. What did you think of that? Look at them boots. I think it looks pretty good. I really do. So what I did is I glued them, and while they're still wet, I let them stand up in the boots. They're still wet, so I can kind of rock them back and forth, and then I obviously filled them with glue, and then hit them with a nailer. Then I let them stand, let them just cure just like that. Yeah. Now, those are some nice boots. Wait till we start painting. Yeah. So here we are. We're gonna give a little coat of paint here. This is just a primer. Just a paint that I had. I'm just gonna paint them up just to prime it, because that wood will just suck in anything I put on there. So here we go. And I see my doggies in the background doing doggy things. And here I'm painting away. I don't know exactly what paint that is. I think it's like interior paint of some type. But anyways, it works great for a primer coat, even though it's not designed for that, but it works great for that. Then what I did is I hit it with that, let that kind of set up, and the reason why I'm painting his body right there, because that's where his pants, SpongeBob has pants up there. So we're going to have to prime that area, and then he's going to get his pants and his belt. Now, again, it's kind of hot out there. This stuff's drying pretty quick. it doesn't take that long for this primer to set. I mean, this paint to set up. It's latex. It doesn't take that long. So, you know, probably an hour or two, and that's pretty much set up. And then what I did is I'll bring him inside and I'll start painting his pants on and his belt. But right here I'm just painting away, making sure that it doesn't suck in as much. I want a strong color because the cartoon colors are pretty strong colors. They're not faded. They're not like animals where they have a different type of like a faded or color like that. And here we go. There's a couple cracks, so I'm going to use some paint caulk. And if I want really strong stripes, like if I want a real strong definition between one color and another color, what you do is you put the tape on, okay, tape it up, then you caulk that along the edge like that all the way around. Then you're going to wipe it off, and that will create a nice barrier between the tape and the new area you want to paint. It'll be a nice crisp line, and that's just an old painter's trick, and that works really good. So when I paint that, I want a very defined line where his pants start and his body starts, you know, where they start and stop. You're going to want that. It just looks, instead of having like a faded line or something that doesn't really, oh, that was Blackie, I need to scoff. So if you want a very defined line, always put the tape on, caulk it, use painter's caulk. I think that is the 40-minute version of that. And then what we're going to do is, when that's done, just pull it off and look at that line. Tight line. That's what we're talking about. There's his shoes. Got a little bit of, need to fill in those little cracks there, but other than that, I like the shape. Oh, yeah, here we go. So we're going to give him a little spray job here, because his boots are black, jet black. So we're going to spray him, and it's a little windy out there, but we're going to put several coats on, so it's not really a big deal. And now that it's primed up, you can see that paint really sticks well, and it's a very solid color. That's what we're looking for, because that's what SpongeBob's boots look like. They're solid black. Yep, see, look at that. So now you see I've retaped it, and I'm going to caulk it again because I'm going to do a different color, because SpongeBob's pants are a certain color. You know, they're different than the other parts, and I gotta make it a certain way. So you see, I tape it up, caulk it again, and then we're gonna do some paint. I believe SpongeBob's pants are gonna be brown. Let's see what we got. I can see the acrylic paint right there. So I just used acrylic paint that I use for painting some of my paintings. There you go. It's a quickie look, and there we are, painting away. Yeah. So that works out a lot better. And then you're going to see how that defines it. So if you're trying to paint a cartoon, they're very strong colors for the most part. And SpongeBob has strong colors. So we want a strong defined line where his pants start, his belt start, his pants, and his boots are, and his legs, all that. Very, very strict lines. So in order to do that, you got to paint them up with using the tape and the caulk method. And that's Remy. That's my little girl dog. And I just keep going and paint away, and Remy likes to look around. Alright. And there goes Smokey, and then there's Remy again. And then there's Skatey, that's Remy's daughter. And I'm almost finished painting his pants. Now, I believe I did a couple coats on this. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if one coat finished. I think his lower pants, I had to hit him again. But the upper pants, it may have been enough because of the epoxy filled in most of that. So it really wasn't going to suck in much. And I hit it with a couple different coats of paint. I hit it with the primer, and I hit it with the brown paint. And you can see I'm trying to get in it. And then let's see how tight that, look at that line. It's pretty tight. Now, we're on the painting eyeballs. So these are the lights that I'm using for eyeballs. You can see I'm just using some spray paint here. We're spraying the eyeballs. And the first thing in an eyeball is got to be white. And that's what we're doing. We're going to use some white paint. So there it is. So now you see what it is. It's a little Rust-Oleum. And we're painting them. So I want to put a couple coats of paint on there. So it's for the eyeball. Now we're going to get the iris and the pupil. And I'll tell you, this is a little harder than I thought, but it's starting to work out okay. You can see I'm using some pretty small paint brushes there. And there we go. And believe it or not, you can see the drawing underneath my eyeballs that I'm painting is actually for a client, and I'm actually finishing up that project right now. It's not that it's kind of strange to see that I drew it up, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're putting the wrought iron in the pillars, I think tomorrow. Anyways, you can see me painting in the eyes, and that's the only way I thought I could get the eyes correct is using some acrylic paint and a little paintbrush, and I traced out and tried to make a circle the best I could. I'm not perfect. I just the best thing I thought I could do. I'm not sure what else I could have done. I had different ideas, but this came out as good as I thought. Now we gotta paint his legs. Remember, he's got legs, and he has socks, and they're different. Now I'll tell you what, that yellow did not want to cover. So that you can see that yellow does not want to cover. So what I wound up doing, I believe, is painting the legs all white, and then coming over the top of that with the yellow, which was way easier because that yellow is just not covering. It's just not going to cover. So that's what I wound up doing. You can see I got his tie in. See, you see that little red tie? That looks pretty good. And the lines are very defined, just like in the cartoon. Very, very strict. And I wish I could tell myself right now just to stop and go ahead and paint those things white right now and save yourself a whole bunch of time. And it's just the bleed through. That's all that is. When you have a light color over a dark color, it's hard to cover. It's either lots of painting or you have to figure a different way out. And I wound up painting them white, and then coming over with the yellow was much better. And here I am just gonna cut in the tie again. And to be honest, this took a lot more painting and time painting than I thought. The cracks really did not help. The cracks in the wood in the 6x12 did not help me painting. It was not very forgiving. As nice as it turned out, it was tough to make it. So you can see my work boots are on. Those work boots work really well. Always safety first. Right now I'm painting in my garage. So you see I went with a different paintbrush this time, trying to get it to cover, and it's just not covering. No matter what I do, it's not covering. So you can just see the bleed through on that. I'm not happy with that at all. Like the tie, you can see where I traced out for the belt. So I traced out, I just drew the graphite out with a pencil, and then I said, well, that's good enough. So then I went with some black and paint in the belt. Now you can see the outlines with the pencil. It was just easier if I did it with pencil, then I could erase it if I wanted to. Just now I just fill it in with the black, and it looks just like SpongeBob's belt on his pants. And I did that all the way around, so he has a 360 belt. And yeah, it took a little time, but we got it done. There I am whittling away. Man, I tell you, it seems like it took forever to paint that. It just didn't want to flow. It's not like a piece of canvas, I'll tell you that much. It just did. It's just the material. It's very rough. That wood's extremely rough. But anyways, we got through it. I really like how that shows, though. The black really looks well. Really shows up well with that red tie. The black, the red, the white, and the orange, the yellow. It really has a good look to it. And I think right there I'm using some of my black watercolor. Actually, I'm going to seal everything with a lacquer, so it's not like it's gonna get exposed to the water at all. It's gonna be it's all gonna be sealed up, and that gives it more of a better look. It will bring that, so that brown that you see there looks flat. It's not gonna look flat when we're done. And right now the black looks shiny, but it's gonna dry, and it's gonna look flat. And the white looks flat. Everything looks flat. But once I seal it with lacquer, it's going to bring the colors right up, very bright. Yeah, that's watercolor I'm using right there. Using one of my watercolor brushes. Not, I could have used some of the acrylic. I couldn't find the acrylic black paint at the time. I was wondering why all my watercolor black was gone, and now I realize where it went. I used it. Anyways, we're almost done here. As you can see here, I'm still painting away. I got a socks painted in there. I got the collars on and the belt painted, and you can see that I got the same paint that I used a primer, and it's really a top coat paint, but I'm using it as a primer, and I'm using it here for his socks. And that took a little while. So we got the socks painted in there. I at some point in time I paint the whole thing white. I'm not sure exactly how much further that goes, but we paint that all white. So you can see how I got his socks, and his tie is on there, his collar's on there. He's just about ready to go. And you can see I'm putting the first coat of lacquer on there. And the socks and the legs aren't quite done yet, but it helps the paint cover and not let it leak through. And then I'm using a penny here for the eye. I just do a little trace action here. Hopefully he doesn't get he has a lazy eye here in a minute. I'm using my 602 pencil there. That is a very nice pencil, by the way. They're kind of expensive, but they're nice. It's the Blackwing 602. And here I'm using indigo for his eye, and it's actually a watercolor, but I thought it worked best for his eye. But again, I'm going to seal everything, so it's not like it's going to run or anything like that. As soon as it gets on there and it dries, I just hit it with some lacquer, and it's done. Now these particular lights, you could press them and the lights come on, but I'm going to use the remote on this guy so that I don't have to worry about damaging the paint on it. Almost done. You can see the eyeballs getting painted, and that's how I got SpongeBob's eyes. That's it. And you can see I do a little work on the outside of the eye, and we do some lacquer. Here we are. And look at those eyes. You can't tell me that doesn't look like SpongeBob eyes. Now we're on to making his eyelashes. So I had these stir sticks where I go get coffee in the morning at 7-Eleven. I get these stir sticks, and I always pocket a handful of them. So I got a ton of these stir sticks, and they work for all sorts of cool things, like SpongeBob eyes or eyelashes. So I'm just cutting them up to length, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend them, so they have a little bend to them, and then we're going to paint them black, and then we'll super glue them on. Let's see. Oh, look at that. You can see his eyelashes are on. I used that foam on his mouth because I couldn't get his mouth to form with wood the way I wanted it to. Then what I did is I took drywall shims and I cut his teeth out. I figured those would work well for his teeth. So I used drywall shims. I cut them to what I think the teeth would look like. Then what I do is I paint them. And then I paint them and I glue them in place. And that's how I make SpongeBob teeth. And you can see his eyelashes are coming together. His face is coming together. Look at those eyes. And so here we are. I'm putting another coat of paint over the foam. And I just put the foam in there and hit it with some CA glue, and then I put an accelerator on there, so it just set it up immediately. Then I hit that foam with some more of my indigo. I believe that's indigo. It could be black. And then I hit it with, again, see the paint in my hair still. And then I hit it with some more lacquer. And then it really gets a nice shiny look to it. SpongeBob's face really taking shape. He's still missing his teeth. Hey, SpongeBob, can I have some candy? Oh, I can? Cool. How about the dogs? Can the dogs have candy? Oh, that's a no. Sorry. All right, cool. Well, looks like it's time to build SpongeBob's hands and arms. So again, I'm using red wood. and I'm just trying to manipulate this stuff and figure out what I'm supposed to do. I don't really know how it's going to turn out at this point. So here I am, just kind of trying to figure out what's best and what's not best. So we'll see how she turns out here in a second. So what I did here is I cut a couple slots on my table saw, and I'm using my chisels here. They're pretty sharp to gouge out where I want his arms to go up into. So this is right where the square stock is going to go up inside of that to form his arms and his hands. So he's going to need a shoulder arm, the upper shoulder arm, and which is that's going to be the shoulder arm, and that square stock is going to go right up in there like that, and that will form his arm. Okay, nice and flush. Get it in there. Okay. So once that's done, then we're going to have an arm that we can attach a hand to. Then that's what we're going to do. Now we're back to power grinding, and so I want to take down the shoulder with the grinder because it's redwood again and it's real soft, and there goes Smokey. This will take it down real quick, and we don't need to take it, so it's completely smooth, but we want to take those edges off of that so it just looks more appropriate to a SpongeBob shoulder, because SpongeBob's a little square anyways, hence the name. So here we are. We're going to cut his arms to length, and then we're going to start building his hands. So we got the arms, we got the shoulder, then we're going to go for the hands. And what I'm trying to do here is get both his arms to be exactly the same length. And look at here, it's my favorite glue, Type Bond 3. We're going to put the shoulders and arms together. And Shazam, that's how that works. See, they fit in there just right. One's a right side, one's a left side. Look at that, fill them up with glue, stick him in there. Then I'm going to hit him with the nail gun, of course. You can see the nail gun sitting there to my left. And that's about how that goes. Yep, and here we are, tacking them together. So sometimes the heads are a little high in there, but I just clip them off. It's not really a big deal. And I'm going to do the same thing for the hands as I did for the shoulder sections. And I'm just going to, put them on the table saw. We're going to run it through the table saw just so I have it, so I can clean it out, and that square stock will just slide right in there. Just run a rabbit in there, basically. That's it. And going to do the same thing. We're going to hit it with some glue. Use my favorite chisels, and those are sharp. And it just doesn't take too much to pound that out. Look at that. I mean, those guys are super sharp. There you go. And that one slides in there like that. We're going to hit it with my favorite glue. And hit it again, tack it down until the glue dries with my little nail gun. So I don't need the hands that big, so we're just going to use them that big. Now you can see I have those articulated. I have it articulated so the palms are going to be up. And there's a reason why I want the palms up, because I want somebody, or SpongeBob, to be able to hold a tray in his hand. So they're articulated up to hold the tray, so that when trick-or-treaters come, they can pick out the candy dish that sits on SpongeBob. So SpongeBob will be holding the trick-or-treat candy dish, and they can ask SpongeBob if they can have any, and then his eyes will light up in accordance to if they can or can't. So that's why the palms are articulated up. So I am putting SpongeBob's fingers in, and it's kind of rough, but it moves on me a lot. But it does go in, and give SpongeBob the old fingers. There you go. Now again, he has a thumb. He has an opposing thumb. We got to put that in there too. And here's the thumb. So I believe he has 3 fingers and a thumb. And then again, we glue them, and that's it. Once the glue sets up, she's all good to go. And then we paint them up. There you go. There's your hand. And what I did here is I'm trying to drill right into my, honestly, I've had to put a drill bit into my thigh before, in that left thigh before, so just so you know. So I'm putting these bolts in there so I can bolt on his hands, his arms, and I can take them off. So that's exactly what I did. And so I made it so I can take them on and take them off. And the reason why I think it would be, when you go to move this guy, maybe transport him, or if you want his arms to move in a different directions, you can have him, if you undo one screw and the other one you loosen a little bit, you can move it up or down. Okay. But if you want to transport them, you would want to probably take them so they don't get broken. So that's what I did. Everything works out good. So that's why I take his arms off and I put them back on. And you can see I'm just tightening them with a screwdriver. That's it. Just wanted to make sure that they work. And that's it. And then I painted them. We of course got to paint SpongeBob's arms. You can't leave them not painted. And you can see that he's really coming together now. I mean, he's almost done. There I am with the Red Bull. You got to have that. If you don't have a Red Bull, I'm not sure what we're doing. And you see how well that yellow covers once you paint it white. It just doesn't get that bleed through. It actually does the opposite of that. It actually really sets off the yellow. Instead of seeing the dark colors come through, it kind of brightens the yellow. The yellow looks very bright there. So that's what we did. We decided, hey, it looks a whole lot better that way. And also doesn't hurt to have a Red Bull. You always got to have that. So I'm doing most of the painting here inside of the garage. And we're pretty close to getting this thing wrapped up. I'll tell you, it took quite a bit to get done. His fingers are all there. You can see the thumb on the side. And I'm gonna see if I can get him to hold the tray here at the end. And I believe it was just one coat of paint that we actually covered at this point. I had to make sure I got all his fingers in that. So, anyways, he got all that painted up. Make sure you get the Red Bull in there. That's important.
SpongeBob, you've got some mighty nice looking eyes. Oh yeah, little buddy.
I'm not sure if anybody knows, but I do a lot of the light sections of this stuff at like 4 o'clock in the morning because it's still dark, and of course I'm up because I don't sleep too much. So as you can see, SpongeBob's eyes are looking pretty hot right there. Yeah, look at that. He's just saying, hey. I actually really dig his eyes. Look at the colors. I think I'm a big fan. You know, sometimes he's green with envy. Sometimes he's not. I really dig his eyeballs.
Hey SpongeBob, how are you, little buddy? Can I have some candy, SpongeBob? Oh cool, I can. Can my dogs have some candy, SpongeBob? Oh no, that's bad. Sorry, my bad. How about can Shrub have any candy? Oh no, sorry. You're not getting candy either. Thanks, SpongeBob. You've been very helpful.
So if you've made it all the way through the video and you feel like I've earned your subscription, please like and subscribe so I can make more of these strange and different types of videos. Thank you so much.